Today, I want to talk a little bit about manifesting in general. I want to tell a quick story. One of my clients, she's been manifesting things related to her business, with selling a property as well as things with her specific person. And she's had success in all areas. And I'm so incredibly proud of her. She did send me her most recent success story, which involved selling her house. Her mantra was cash offer, quick close. Before I share her story, I am going to share my own story that feels very similar to this. And I know that this is going to help a lot of you guys. And please, please, please stop thinking that manifestation is a trick. Stop thinking that you can trick yourself, that you can trick God, universe, source, however you want to label the creator of all of us. You have to step into your divine nature and your divine power and understand that you actually have always been manifesting and you always will be manifesting whatever you're believing and thinking on every single layer, on every level of all things of this life. That is what you are experiencing back in your 3D. The 3D is, some people like to say, it's old news. It is the result of your previous belief system. Simple. That's it. The part that isn't necessarily simple for many of us might be to own it, to take responsibility for it, and then to trust that when we make a new decision, that we can actually feel safe and get excited in expectation that we can literally have anything that we want. You weren't created to suffer. You weren't created to hope and beg all the time. Okay, so instead of praying for something to change, give thanks that it did change, because you wouldn't even want something so deep in your heart and soul unless that already existed. Before I do get into this, please do like, comment, share, and subscribe to my channel if you love my content. If you want me to be your coach, email me a short description to kim@coreunion.com. I'll reply back with my next available session after you've booked on my website, coreunion.com. You can do a 30-minute or a package of 30 minutes, okay? Years ago, I wanted to buy a single family home in an up and coming area. I think I may have actually done a video on this before. I'm going to keep this super short and sweet. I was reading in the newspaper that this particular city that I was looking at was like the next big thing. I went ahead and I started looking up brokers in the area, and I got in touch with this couple and they started helping me, and they brought me into an area that the house was beautiful. It was a beautiful old colonial, and we just wanted to like do it over. So take the wall, like based on what it looked like, we could rip up the carpets, take the wallpaper down, paint it, polish up the hardwood floors, add our special touches to it, and it would be perfect for us. And it was like over the top, ridiculously affordable. So I had said to the broker, I remember this area from when I was really young. I said, that used to be a like really rough area. Oh, no, 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 not at all. Not anymore. Not anymore. It's really cleaned up. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, okay, cool. So I'm like being super naive. So we go ahead and I buy the house. Soon after living there were a lot of like really disconcerting things that would happen. Like sometimes I would drive home and the kids in the neighborhood would just be blocking me from being able to park my car in my own yard. Sometimes they would just be hanging out on my front yard. Sometimes on the weekend, I was out on the back on the deck, just having a cookout with a couple of friends. And these young men would just come right in on the yard, come right up on my deck. And then even another time, there was something with this other guy that offered to do some work on the house. And he was just asking a ton of questions. So who else lives here with you and this and that? And I was just like, I need to get out of this place. So the night came where I heard noises from across the street. I had all the lights off and I looked out the window, and I literally all of a sudden I saw a man break into the apartment building. And then I saw all these cruisers suddenly pulled up, and all of these men, like, dressed in black, start charging, and you can see guns and stuff at the multifamily that was across the street. So I obviously am not sleeping, and I am so incredibly scared. Just not be I know that whatever's happening here is being handled, but I'm like, I can't live here. I feel like I didn't realize it, but I bought a house that's kind of in the middle of a war zone, and I wasn't even aware of it. So I don't know how many months in I was living at this house now. I end up having a friend of mine who's also a real estate broker list the house. And I was like, F this, I don't care what it costs. We need to I need to get out of here. So I start focusing on a house that I absolutely loved, and I decided that was going to be the house. Every time somebody would come by and show interest in the house, because I made it up and it looked beautiful inside. And I didn't care about, I just wanted to sell it. So every single time somebody would come by and be interested in, it would fall through, and then they would ask a lot less money. And I was starting to get super angry. I was starting to resent my friend. So maybe it was like 2 or 3 months passed. And she finally said, I'm sorry, but I'm having too much of a hard time because of the things that are happening in the neighborhood. Obviously, people are driving by at different times and they're seeing the whole reason why you want to leave too. So I decided to go in, and this was before I knew what manifestation, like the depth of it. Okay. Because this was way back. So if I was not even 30 anymore and I'm 53 now, do the math. I started to just give thanks for God for sending me the perfect buyer that didn't care, that wasn't phased. Okay. They weren't phased by it. They loved it. They felt comfortable with it. They knew that they loved, especially what I did to the house. So they were kind of an emotional buyer. When they saw the house, they loved the house. They even saw the neighborhood and the neighborhood kids, and they just weren't phased by it. That's who my ideal buyer was. And I gave thanks for that. And I knew for a fact that that would work. So then I ended up hiring another real estate broker. He was such an awesome guy. I told him about everything. He said, "No, I'm not going to worry about this." He said, "We're going to find the right person." And he said something like, "God's going to send the right people." And I was like, and I just completely resonated with this. So he put it up, and then the same thing was happening. And I kept saying, "I don't care." And I would say to him, "I trust you. I know that you got this. I know for a fact that you got this, and this is going to work." He ended up calling me one afternoon and he said, "Are you sitting down?" And I said, "I can." And he said, the front page of the newspaper this morning, and this was like all major newspapers in the state, I believe. The picture of the multifamily that was right across from me was the front page, and it said that I think it was New England's largest heroin supplier found and arrested. And there was just all of this stuff. And I was like, you know what? I don't care. I still know. I trust that somehow this is all part of it. This is part of it. This is part of the plan. So what ended up happening was the people showed up after that newspaper um, came out. We ended up closing very quickly. And at the closing, the gentleman, who was the husband and father, said, "I just want you to know that I saw this as God's blessing, because when we saw the newspaper that came out, we saw this as God was cleaning it up for us to come in." So the story that my client wanted to share is kind of similar, not with the same circumstances, but she was selling her property. She was maintaining that she had faith and trust. Her mantra was cash offer, quick close, cash offer, quick close. But what was happening was she was starting to get like offers that were lower than what she was asking for. And she was finding herself get frustrated. And then she was also finding herself with a little bit of a story about the broker, like getting frustrated with him. So what she did was she started to release and let go and surrender into being a blessing, even for these people that are making the offer. Like, in other words, she said, "I was blessed with this house, so I'm going to surrender into this, knowing that God's got this." Like, how would God look at this? Because how I'm looking at it right now isn't very godly. That's how she described it. So she stepped into that divinity and into that power and into that surrender and trust. Then she also realized the story that she was a little bit angry towards her broker. So she also addressed that quickly, and she replaced it with, "He's got the best, has my best interest at heart. He's getting me the best offer that he can get me," being very grateful for him. So she let go of the anger when the people were asking for less, and she let go of her frustration with her broker. She stepped into her power, where it was almost in that attitude. And she didn't say this, but this is how it made me feel. She went into that, "I lend, I don't borrow." She didn't allow herself to be scared and frustrated in terms of finances and money. And she went into that surrender and into that power, into that trust. And she thought, well, okay, if this is part of the plan, then I trust that I'm being a blessing the same way this house was a blessing to me. I'm being a blessing to the people who are buying it too. And then she went into that trust and that appreciation and gratitude towards her broker. Instead of seeing him as an adversary, she saw him as caring about her, that he had her back, that he was working very hard for her. And she said, in that moment, she got a text out of nowhere. It was either a text or a call from her broker. And he said, "You're not going to believe this." And she said, "What?" And he said, "We just got a cash offer, 10,000 over what you were asking." And a quick close. Comment down below on times in your life where you saw that when you went into trust, no matter how you did it, no matter what you said to yourself, that when you went into trust, everything actually unfolded and worked out in your favor. Please do affirm that down below in your comments to inspire other people. And please remember, when you're commenting under videos, always, no matter what, because whether you're thinking something, whether you're ruminating on something, whether you're writing something down, even if it's in comments, you are affirming for whatever that is that you are writing in comments. Okay, so withdraw all of your attention and energy on the BS and the 3D and go into your trust of what's in your heart and soul, remembering that that intuition is God basically speaking to you. Okay, so you have to trust that God's got your back. Okay, I don't care how you think about God. It doesn't matter. God isn't going to take it personally as long as you realize and know and trust and surrender to God. And remember that you were created in God's image to create for God. So that's why you have such a deep feeling in your heart and soul. Okay, so anyway, comment down below on times where you believed in something and you didn't give up and things worked out in your favor for other people, to inspire other people. I love you so much. Have an amazing day. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Nothing can come, nothing can come, nothing can come between us.